This is the government news brief for Tuesday, December 29, 2015. In the news, government is making every effort to ensure Guyana's compliance with regard to anti-terrorism and terrorist-related activities legislation. Berbice residents offer praise for drainage interventions. A hydropower station in Region 9 is to be resuscitated as focus continues on renewable energy sources. With these and other stories, I am Azeem Khan. Life for residents of Sophia would be made much brighter as the Ministry of Public Infrastructure plans to install street light along the main access road. Paul McAdam reports.
Certain roads in Sophia, Georgetown, are to be rehabilitated. This is according to Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson. During this process, street lights will be installed.
They will be deemed main access roads, so we will include street lights for those things. For the internal lighting, unfortunately, I'm talking not only Sophia, but any area. Sophia will have to apply to City Council to see if the City Council budget can sustain the additional lights. Because, that has always been traditionally the dispute between the GPL and City Council at the end of the year, because the City Council would write and acknowledge that we will be paying for, say, 1,000 lights in Georgetown. And when someone or an entity puts up 1,001, right, without the agreement of City Council, obviously that's where the dispute comes, because if whoever puts up the light will have to pay for the light. It's not the ministry, nor is it the GPL responsibility for that.
Patterson noted that the responsibility for street lighting lies with either City Hall or the neighborhood democratic councils. Individuals and communities can also make a direct approach to the Guyana Power and Light Company.
There is a mechanism where individuals can pay for, or communities can sign an agreement with GPL directly to pay for the lights. But so therefore, when you speak about street lights in Sophia, we will be doing the main lights that we do for the entire country. All the highway lights on the highways and the East Bank and those things. This ministry has a budget which pays for that annually, but the internal lights inside of communities is up to the NDC in which you are residing to write to GPL and say, I will pay for these extra lights, and we will pay you monthly to acknowledge them.
The coalition government has adopted what it describes as a holistic approach to improving and building new communities. This will be done by providing infrastructure such as properly constructed roads, efficient drainage systems, the supply of potable water, and the installation of streetlights along the main access roads. Paul McAdam, Government News Brief.
The National Assembly must pass the Anti-Terrorism and Terrorist-Related Activities Bill 2015 before the year ends. As such, government is making every effort to ensure Guyana's compliance regionally and internationally. A recent consultation was held following a prior call to submit comments and suggestions for the final preparation of the bill. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams has personally made this call since July 2015. Here now is that report.
The Ministry of Legal Affairs has contacted via email 13 national groups of individuals and agencies where views, suggestions and comments were sought on the proposed bill. Despite criticisms from some sections of the political sphere, the Attorney General dispelled the notion that no consultations were held as he read verbatim to the National Assembly responses to his sent emails.
We have an email, and the email is addressed to the Commissioner of Police, the Guyana Bar Association, the Berbice Bar Association, the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Private Sector Commission, the Bank of Guyana, the Director of the Public Prosecutions, the Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha, the Guyana Defense Force, the Guyana Association of Bankers, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, and the Guyana Insurance Association.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister and leader of the government's business in the National Assembly, Moses Nagamootoo, explained that the coalition government will ensure the bill's passage as it is important to the country's support in the global fight against terrorism.
It is the government's business to deal with criminality. It is this government's business to deal with money laundering. It is this government's business to deal with terrorism, and it is this government's business to present bill for the suppression of terrorism, anti-money and money laundering and criminality. If the other side feels comfortable that you could give succor to criminals, terrorists, and money launderers, you could frustrate this House by coming with this presentation you made today.
On December 28, 2015, government held a public consultation at the Arthur Chung International Conference Center. The activity was facilitated by the Attorney General and a high-level team from the Ministry of Legal Affairs. Over 20 representatives from the Private Sector Commission, the Bankers Association, Office of the Commissioner of Police, and the Guyana Police Force, and individuals participated. The Anti-Terrorism and Terrorist-Related Activities Bill 2015 returns to the National Assembly tomorrow, December 30, for debate and possible passage. For this Government News Brief, I am Shanta Goberdan reporting.
Residents and farmers of Berbice are praising the coalition government for its latest move in installing the necessary infrastructure to effectively drain lands in Region 6. Shanta Goberdan reports.
2 new drainage pump stations at Gangaram and Joppa, Berbice will significantly aid the drainage of farmlands in those communities and surrounding areas. Both pump stations have the capacity to drain 90,000 gallons of water per second.
I think it's a good thing for the village in Gangaram and the farmer as well, and also the sugar industry. It benefits us from flooding.
It's going to be a lot of difference. We're getting no flood anymore.
Well, I was get flooding and thing before. But since this pump will play a very important part.
I'm a cash crop plant farmer, and I also work at Gaisuku Rosal Estate. And I believe this initiative here is one of the most wonderful things I've ever seen for the longest while, because this we were talking about all the time. We need a pump to take off the water back, because sometimes our livestock, our communities, and even to our crops has been destroyed under extreme water. Water stays in the land for days, and even waterborne disease gives a rise. So I praise this gesture, and I hope the government continue to do more for us.
When the estates sluice working, on low tide we got the draft, and when it becomes a neap tide, this pump will assist a lot, too much a lot, because you can pump all time, high tide, low tide. So the residents and the farmers all will benefit from this.
At the commissioning exercise, Minister of Agriculture Noel Volda indicated that agriculture accounts for more than 33% of total employment and 20% of the country's gross domestic product. It is for this reason that the coalition government will continue to significantly invest in the necessary infrastructural support to ensure full backing is given to small farmers along with other domestic investors.
When we came into the government 7 months ago, we had the baptism of water. Georgetown was flooded not only once, but twice. We are serious about protecting the livelihood of people, because every time you have a flood in Georgetown, the shops are closed. People have to buy long boots. People cannot go to work. And so business is affected. And when business is affected, the life of the country is affected.
The pump station at Gangaram costs $310 million, while the Joppa station was completed to the tune of $277 million. For the Government News Brief, I am Shanta Goberdan reporting.
Government has recognized that women's participation in national development is essential for achieving social equity and reducing poverty. To this end, the Women of Worth program has been extended to the hinterland regions. Senika Thorne reports.
The Women of Worth microcredit initiative was extended to the hinterland region, but with a different emphasis. Indigenous women in the interior are now benefiting from animal grants, where a single parent received the pair of animal.
This project has also gone to the interior locations, which we're addressing differently in those areas where there is no back. What we're doing the animal grants, where we will give to a single parent a pair of animal, whether it is cow or whether it's a pair of sheep or whether goats, whatever it is. And at the end of the period, that person will now give to another woman a pair, and so that it can take on a momentum of itself and keep expanding, and they can be able to become self-sufficient in one area of their lives.
Meanwhile, many other single-parent mothers on the coastline are benefiting from the program. The Women of Worth program empowers single women parents to take advantage of the economic opportunities around them and so increase their participation in society. The intention of the project is to provide all-round support to ensure participants manage and sustain successful business ventures. For the Government News Brief, Seneca Thorne reporting.
The current administration is set to resuscitate the Mokomoko hydropower station, which was started many years ago. This venture is one of the many avenues the government has to provide Guyanese with renewable energy. It also fits into the pursuit of a green economy. Paul McAdam reports.
The coalition government has recognized the need to move towards renewable energy sources. However, the pursuit of renewable energy will not be confined to a single project. Instead, the government is looking at a number of options, beginning with the Mokomoko hydro station.
It is a shame that a country with so much abundance of renewable energy potential that we have none. So we're working on a different strategy in the sense that we're not looking for one silver bullet.
Guyana has a number of potential hydropower sites. It is the intention of the coalition government to explore the capacity of these sites so that by 2020, Guyana will be well on its way to phasing out the use of heavy fuel.
There are about 69 potential hydro sites here. What we're doing is progressively implemented renewable energy projects. So therefore, by the end of our first term in 2020, we should have at least 100 megawatts of renewable energy, while while a large project is being implemented. So in that way, that will reduce for the next second phase of the government. That will reduce our dependency on heavy fuel oil. But that's how we see it going, in the sense that you don't just simply go to pull out a silver bullet in all your renewable energies problems are solved. We're trying to wean the dependency off and progressively get there.
This move forms part of the administration's overall effort to reduce dependence on fossil fuels for energy. In so doing, the country can save significant sums being expended on the purchase and importation of such fuels.
That has brought us to the end of the Government News Brief for Tuesday, December 29, 2015. Check out our other programs on our website. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook. Remember to send us your Guyana Nice photo. Here is ours.